Good evening and welcome to the Monday night edition of Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, trumping the field or a two-man race. While Ted Cruz has taken the lead in Iowa, Donald Trump has almost tripled the field nationally. Let's take a look at those new national numbers. According to the latest rating service or survey from Monmouth University, look at this. Donald Trump with a commanding lead at 41%, 27 points ahead of second place Ted Cruz at 14%, then Marco Rubio at 10%, Dr. Ben Carson at 9%, Jeb Bush and John Kasich at 3%, then Chris Christie, Carly Fiorina, Mike Huckabee and Rand Paul all checking in at 2%. Now, it is a different story in Iowa, according to polling done by the Des Moines Register, and it registers as good news for Ted Cruz. Cruz comes in at 31%, a whopping 21 percentage point jump for him since the last survey in October. Donald Trump second at 21%, then Ben Carson at 13%, Marco Rubio at 10%, Jeb Bush at 6%, Rand Paul, Mike Huckabee, and Chris Christie all at 3%. Those new numbers from Iowa perhaps prompted Trump to take rhetorical aim at Ted Cruz yesterday on Fox News Sunday, the Donald decrying the conduct of Cruz in the United States Senate.
I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
What's wrong with this temperament?
Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way. You can't walk into the Senate and scream and call people liars and not be able to cajole and get along with people. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
Well, for more on this story, let's bring in our panel. First, Skyping in from Utica, New York, pollster John Zogby of Zogby Analytics. John, also the author of the book First Globals, Understanding, Managing, and Unleashing the Potential of Our Millennial Generation. Likewise, Skyping in from Virginia, presidential historian Craig Shirley. Craig is the author of Last Act, The Final Years and Emerging Legacy of Ronald Reagan. As always, gents, thanks for your time here on Newsmax Prime. And with the next debate just about 24 hours away, John Zogby, is it safe to say we will see fireworks between Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio?
I think you'll see an interesting kind of triangulation. You're going to see Donald Trump going after Ted Cruz going after Marco Rubio, and vice versa, but not Cruz necessarily going after Donald Trump.
And why not, John?
Well, I think that what Cruz realizes is that he's a beneficiary, as he, I think, planned, not only of the ongoing demise, it looks like, of Ben Carson, but also as Trump loses points, those go into Ted Cruz's column, and so better to lay low a little bit and let Donald Trump do the attacking.
Craig Shirley, on the subject of Cruz and how he responds to Donald Trump, we heard Trump call him a sort of maniac yesterday, and Cruz responds with a bit of humor, tweeting out a scene from the movie Flashdance with the lyrics maniac included. Humor, is that the best way to counter an attack from Donald Trump?
I think that is exactly the way to go, especially in this season of forgiveness, to be quite honest. I think it's interesting, JD, is that Donald Trump attacked Ted Cruz as if Donald Trump was a member of the Republican establishment, like John McCain would, call him a wacko bird, and attack him for going after the establishment. Trump unwittingly put himself in the camp of the establishment, attacked Cruz as if he was a conservative, which he is, which I think is going to bode well for Ted Cruz and bode poorly, quite frankly, for Donald Trump.
Well, part of the ferocity of the Trump verbal attack stems from some leaked audio that came from a private fundraiser in New York for Senator Cruz. Let's listen to what Ted Cruz had to say, then we'll get your reactions.
I like and respect both Donald and Ben. I do not believe either one of them is going to be our nominee. I don't believe either one of them is going to be our president. I think both of them, their campaigns have a natural arc. So my approach, much to the frustration of the media, has been to bear hug both of them and smother them with love. Because I think, look, people run us who they are. I believe that gravity will bring both of those campaigns down, and I think the lion's share of their supporters come to us.
A little candor behind closed doors from Cruz. John Zogby, anything offensive in there that merits the tag maniac?
Oh, of course not. In fact, this is one of the few times that you see Ted Cruz, being really on an even keel. And frankly, let's not use any names. He's candidate B, let's say. What's he supposed to say? That, oh, these guys are on the rise, these guys are going to increase, these guys are going to win. He only said what any candidate would actually say, and frankly, I think it was pretty benign in the process.
Yeah, what about it, Craig Shirley, in terms of tactics, basically hugging those guys and offering rhetorical love in the notion that people will come around to the conservative candidacy of Cruz? Is the senator onto something?
JD, in the final analysis, this is not going to hurt Ted Cruz. In the short term, though, I would criticize him or fault him on two levels. One is that in this day and age, in 2015, you have to assume that you are being taped or videotaped any place, anywhere, anytime, whether you're snoring in bed at night or whether you're taking a shower. You have to be careful what you say. The second thing is that he was talking like a campaign strategist instead of a candidate for president of the United States. And that probably grated a little bit on his supporters. He needs to stick to his script and talk like a candidate running for president of the United States.
Well, there's another interesting dynamic here, and let's bring in the other young senator, Marco Rubio. Now, Rubio has been running all the ads talking about national security, and he's been criticizing Ted Cruz. So does Rubio gain anything with this dynamic? Or I guess, John Zogby, the question is, why is Rubio falling further behind at this point?
Falling further behind in Iowa, but not nationally and not in New Hampshire. Frankly, I think Rubio at this point needs to be certain that he's not hurting the conservative base and picking up whatever it is he can get from there. But now he is let's say, the moderate establishment candidate to beat. And he's got to protect that flank. Because, coming out of Iowa, going into New Hampshire, which normally does vote for the moderate candidate, he's got to cede Iowa to somebody else. To Trump or to Cruz. He's got to win New Hampshire, or at least come in second place. So I think he's doing the wise thing as well.
Well, Craig Shirley, I heard Marco Rubio call Cruz an isolationist. Does Cruz have the one line back? Oh, yeah, well, look, Marco's in favor of amnesty. And does amnesty become the albatross around Rubio's neck?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Look, in this day and age, isolationist isn't unfair. It's almost a smear, JD, is that, you could say that about Ronald Reagan, too, because Ronald Reagan believed in projecting American power to defend American interests, but he didn't believe in nation building. He didn't believe in committing ground troops unless American interests were directly at stake. Ted Cruz obviously believes the same as Ronald Reagan. I think also is that Donald Trump, because he has emerged as the strong man of foreign policy, has taken the wind out of Marco Rubio's sails, because Marco Rubio was counting on being the security candidate, but Trump has trumped him, so to speak, on national security issues.
Gentlemen, a great deal of hue and cry about Donald Trump's assertion that Muslims should be banned from coming into the country. While the establishment hated it, and John Zogby, I think you put out a statement criticizing, the new polls suggest that, it has worked for Donald Trump. Your interpretation?
Well, it works among Republicans, and it certainly works among Donald Trump's base and among an ultra-conservative base. Is it a general election strategy that is winnable? Absolutely not. It isn't. And so that's the sort of thing where he got either condemnation or strong feelings from other Republican candidates, because they know they can't go in the general election like this.
Well, now let's rethink that for a second. Craig Shirley, whole lot of independents, and a whole lot of people are saying, wait a minute, you don't need to just put the brakes on bringing Muslims into the country. You need to stop immigration altogether. In fact, Larry Kudlow, a famous open borders guy, has come to that conclusion. So are we going to see this really as the general election loser that John Zogby suggests?
No, I don't think so. I think it's obviously, JD, I think you'll agree and John will agree, it's still an evolving issue. I think that, quite frankly, when people hear that Donald Trump wants to ban Muslims from coming to the United States, what they really hear is security. They do not feel secure in their personhood, in their homes or in their country right now. They want a strong leader who's going to address those concerns. So for them to hear, they don't necessarily personalize it as being Muslim individuals, but so much as let's stop these people who commit terrorism in the past. And from coming into the country in the future. He could adjust it very easily. Of course, the President of the United States can make decisions however he wants on immigration, as Jimmy Carter proved in 1979 when he banned all Iranians from coming into the United States. Other presidents have taken unilateral action on immigration when they thought national interest and national security was at stake.
As befits a presidential historian, you would cite those past occurrences. Craig Shirley in Virginia, John Zogby in Utica, New York. Woo, guys, I'll have to get this in gear. It's a Monday. You're both going to be with us tomorrow night, and we hope you at home will be with us too. Our post-debate special will start at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday night. There's more ahead, so stay here.